This presentation is primarily made for those who've never seen Mathcad before. As it's been communicated, it's supposed to be comparing Mathcad to calculations in spreadsheets. And I have an agenda here on the screen. So this is what I think I will talk about. Let's see if there are other suggestions. But I will start with a really simple example just to show what we mean when we're comparing this to spreadsheets. So I have a link here in my Mathcad worksheet, just jumping to another page. So my plan for today is to use a formula for calculating the volume in a horizontal cylinder, a tank or something, maybe like one of those on the picture there. So having three variables, the height and the radius and the length. So I've found a formula when searching the internet, and it looks like this. The volume is calculated like this if you use L, R, and H. And then if you do it in a spreadsheet, I have this in my collapsed area here. So it could look like this then. So and then we say that, oh, there's a better way of presenting this. We want to present this in natural math notation, like you see it in books or on a blackboard, basically just like the picture above. So what would it look like in Mathcad? In Mathcad, I have it like this. So looks a lot like this one. I could even add that an equal sign here and a V to make it look more like the picture. This will not make any calculation. I here used an equal sign in Mathcad. That's just an equality, so it's not doing any calculation. So I will use this example in my presentation here to build things up. And please tell me if there are other things you want to see. I would say that in Mathcad, you can, in several places, you can see that it works fine with one spreadsheet software, and then I mean Excel. So in Mathcad, we have a few places here you can see that we can read Excel files, and we can even use Excel components inside of Mathcad. But the Excel component can only be used if you have Excel installed on your computer. I will show an example on that later. So basically what we're saying is try to use the correct tool for the problem.
Magnus, can I stop you already?
Sure.
I got a question here. How would you implement a library of standard data in Mathcad? And it says also Prime 11.
A library of standard data. Yeah, maybe if the question is about sort of having sort of a database of values and variables often used, I would put it in a separate worksheet and then use the include feature here and have that include in my main template. So whenever I start a worksheet, it automatically includes this sort of library. I guess if maybe you can see if that was sort of an answer to the question, Finn.
Yeah, I will see if Halvard comes up with a follow-up.
Yeah, okay. So and what we then say about the spreadsheet, what's the problem? Yeah, it's like this. I have this example now in my Excel here. I put the LRH in here. I have values in these boxes. I need to click in the cell to see the value. And this is units, but Excel don't care about unit. It just sees it just as a text. And this is the calculation. This is the formula that I presented here. So basically really hard to follow, really hard to see if I made any mistakes. All those parentheses here all over. And also in this case, I've just divided this with I guess 100 over 3, and then I just type this meter cube here. So just manual calculation. And in this cell here, just as an example, I just put the value in, and there's no way for you to see if this is a value or a formula, but it is a formula and this is a value, but it looks the same. So basically in Mathcad we will see that it works in a much better way. So then I want to move on to my next step on the list. So my plan was also to show some examples here. If I have a completed worksheet, I have this one. I often use this one. It's an old PTC example on Mathcad calculations, but I think it's kind of a typical Mathcad worksheet. It's a lot of text, because in a Mathcad worksheet you mix text and pictures and calculations. So here you can see text regions, text objects here, and this is just a picture. I have not done this picture in Mathcad. It's just a copy paste from somewhere else. And here's some inputs, and as you can see, inputs with the units, and further on there are calculations using all these inputs, and hopefully some answers along the way, and maybe some nice plots as well showing the results. So basically this is what a lot of Mathcad users are using Mathcad for. Maybe making templates for specific calculation to be able to reuse and just change the input data. I also have a few other worksheets with that are filled with more sort of newer features in Mathcad. Here you can see highlights and pictures and programming and tables and an Excel component with conditional formatting and so on. So and with some combo box changing things and so on. Or this one maybe even longer with other calculations. So when you see my examples soon here, it will not be as advanced as this because it takes way too much time to create, but then you can see that you can do a lot of things. Here's an example on a solve block, solving system of equations and so on. So back to my more simple example, basic, no, to my next step, I just call that here, basic features in detail. So moving on to my next paper. We want this to be natural math, or let's start here, natural math. So in this case, let's reuse my equation I had, that one. I don't want to retype it yet. So this is what we mean with natural math notation. I just put it in like this, and just to show how I would do it, I just type L times and parentheses and then start typing R square. Now I know a few shortcut keys, so it's faster for me, I guess. R minus H, using the space bar to select things, and using the arrow key to walk around in the equation, R minus H and times and the square root 2 times R times H minus H2. So kind of fast, I guess, to type it in. If I use this one and try to evaluate it, I will get an error because Mathcad tells me that R has no value. I know that there's few other variables that don't have any values here as well. So let's add them, and I think I will try to use the same values as I had in the Excel sheet. It was something like 235 for L, and R was 75, and H was 43, I think. Let's see. Yes. So copy paste again to show the difference, that now I get a value, and it's hopefully the same value as in the Excel worksheet. It should be the same answer. 9836, yes. So but we want to take it another step here. So I just put this in, copy paste everything. Now you can see that some of these variables, or all of these variables, got something green around them, and that's just a feature in Mathcad warning me, saying that okay, I can be warned if I redefine variables, so I can just switch that off. I don't want the warnings. Now I want to add units, and in Mathcad we can use units basically everywhere. So I want this to be 235 centimeters. Then I get a very strange result. I get it in meters. It's just that now this value, this variable, is in meter, and the rest is just a value. But I need some centimeters here as well. And then I will see an error. Here I try to take this unit, these units are not compatible. So I'm taking R here minus H, and this is in centimeters, and this has no unit. So that's why I get this error. But I want to add centimeters here as well. And then you can see now I get a result with a unit, and the default unit in Mathcad for volumes is liter. So let's copy paste this again. Maybe I want to put this in a variable, call it volume, if I can spell volume. Now I can evaluate volume to get it in liters, but maybe I don't want it in liters. Maybe I want it in some other unit. Let's say meter cubed. So maybe, or what was it in my Excel worksheet? Was it centimeter cubed? Then it's a very large result. Then I have to format it. Maybe I want to format it without exponential format. And just to see that I'm still using the same values. Yes, 983622. So yeah, it's the same calculation in both Excel and in Mathcad.
Magnus, I have another question here, if I can
Sure. Perfect.
stop you. When opening a file, I get the following message. This worksheet contains scriptable objects. Would you like to disable these objects?
Yeah, okay. So that's basically a new warning, because in Prime 10, PTC introduced scripting, or sort of reintroduced scripting into Mathcad again. So if you open a worksheet with a script, you get a warning, and you can go to options, and you can see my settings here. So I've clicked hide advanced controls warning, so I don't get any warnings when opening worksheets like that. Of course, it's a security risk if you open scripts, so maybe you need, but if it's your own worksheets, I hope you can consider them safe. And there's also a few other settings here for those scripts. So I'm enabling evaluation, and I'm telling it to run advanced control script on worksheet recalculate. And I also installed Python here, so I can use Python. That's a new thing in Prime 11, that we can use Python sort of as a more modern scripting language than the old VB script and JScript we could use in Prime 10.
Thank you.
So what was my next plan here? I've defined the volume. I got it in different units as the answer, and yeah, maybe just try to let's copy paste this to show that it's so easy to use other units. So this 235 centimeters, that's sort of 8 feet. So if I put that one in, you can see that, yeah. Let's put the answer in meter cubed again. Yes, sort of, right? So you can see we can use a lot of different units. Let's see what kind of length units can we use in Mathcad. I need to go to length, and yeah, there's quite a few. Let's use some inches. I think this is about 17 inch. And if I want this in maybe feet cubed, you just change it. So very easy to change. You can use units everywhere. Very flexible. So I guess that's what we mean by using Mathcad instead of spreadsheets for engineering calculations. So no more questions there, Finn? Before I move on to some sort of very quick introduction to Mathcad.
I do actually have another question.
Sure.
So let's see here. So where was it? Here it is. I know we can highlight answers, but is there a way to do it automatically so that the color changes automatically if the answer changes?
Yes, we can. And it's sort of like the conditional formatting in Excel, like I had in this example. There's some sort of Excel. I thought it was in this worksheet. No, it was probably in the other one, this one. So here, if I, oh, there's some error here, but Excel is busy. Okay. So, but now with scripting, we can do this in Mathcad. I think I made some small, I haven't opened that file, but yeah, just to have a very simple text box with scripting. So in this case, maybe I should show this, that it's a text box from here, an advanced control text box, and it has a script. It's a script in Python here, and it's basically a very simple script. It just tests if the two inputs, if the one is larger than the other, pick a color. So in this case, it said fail and red, and if A is larger than B, it will say pass and make it green. So that's how you can do conditional formatting in Mathcad. Now, of course, you can do much more advanced things here, but it's a very simple way of doing it.
Do you have time for another question?
Sure.
In the old version, we can completely hide certain equations and calcs. And we can also hide the line for the section where we have to use those lines. Last time I looked at this new version, I couldn't find a way to hide the line. Do you know when we'll be able to do that?
If with line the question is about areas, then I can say, okay, we have these areas here, and now we can, I can't remember if we got this in 10 or 11, but now we can hide area border, so we can make it invisible. So basically we don't see those lines if the question was about specifically about those lines. I don't know what lines would be otherwise. I hope it's about area and the new feature we got.
I think it probably was. If not, we'll take a follow-up question if needed.
Sure. Yep. So let's see. What did my agenda say? Basic Mathcad features in detail. So I will run through these kind of fast. Let's use my link again. And this is basically what I normally do in a one-day training. So yeah, it's fast, I guess. So just show that in Mathcad we can use text. We can just type Control T to get text. This is a text. Now I'm using Swedish keyboard, and I switched off the spell checking, because if I use spell checking, it thinks that I spell things wrong, and I need to select and say, okay, this is in English. So I switched spell checking off. So we can easily create text objects. We can move them around like any other region, and yeah, so on. We can copy paste. We can insert images. We have either we can just copy paste, or we can click on that image saying, okay, let's grab some sort of image here. We can't do that much with images in Mathcad, but we can resize them. If it's not an object, but then it's an object, and we edit it in the sort of parent software. When it comes to math, you saw me create that equation before. When you enter equations in Mathcad, basically you just need to know that you use space bar all the time, divide by 3, space, multiply by 4, plus 5, space, times 6, and you can see the parenthesis is automatically inserted when needed. Select, divide by 8, and maybe evaluate. So it really easy to type and fast. And it's easy to change things. So if I click on that plus sign and just type a minus sign, it will be replaced with that one. So talking about calculation, maybe I should switch to draft view. In a Mathcad worksheet can be viewed in 2 different viewed. One is called draft view, and the other one is called page view. So now I'm in page view, so it will show what it looks like when I print it. But if I switch to draft view, it's just sort of one large calculation area. In this case, I can zoom in here 25, so you see many pages here. Can't remember, I did have something like this. Let's have it. Calculations. It's easier to work with this. So maybe copy paste that one so I don't have to type it. This is an evaluation with an ordinary equal sign. It gives me a numerical answer. I can make changes, and it automatically calculates it. I don't have to type equal again or something. It's a region here with an evaluation operator, so it's still there. And we can, let's see if I, in my calculations, have things like this. You can see that Mathcad can work with complex numbers, with imaginary numbers. Everything works fine, and I can also type complex numbers myself. If I can use I or J, whatever I like, both works. And there's also a lot of other operators here, so if you don't want to memorize the shortcut keys, you can always go here and just click on it. So let's see, let's create an integral from 1 to 3, and yeah, something simple, x equals, and I get an answer. We can also create more advanced calculation parts, like solving system of equations. In Mathcad, the tool is called solve block, and here you can see there's a part here where I put in the guess values, but maybe I just want to start with the equation. So this should be a circle, I guess, and 2 times x plus 3 times y equals 4. This is a line, so yeah, hopefully this line goes through the circle and we have 2 solutions, or maybe none if it's not going through. So let's just get some start values to the algorithm without thinking about it, and just use a function in Mathcad that gives me the answer for x and y, and I get those 2 answers. And if I find one result, I should be able to find the other one as well. Yeah, that's the other one. So easy to do, kind of advanced calculations. When talking
Magnus, can I stop you again?
Sure.
Is there a way to get the equation for a curve? So from the curve data, can I get the equation?
If the question is about curve fitting, I could say yes, we have a lot of functions in Mathcad for curve fitting in this section here. So I don't want to do an example on it, because then I need to find data and things like that. But maybe I have time afterwards. If there's time afterwards and anyone can remember it, maybe I can find an example. But we have a lot of curve fitting features in Mathcad.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to more simple things, like just creating variables. I want the variable a. I use colon, that gives me the colon equals sign here, and I want a to be 21. I want b to be 45, and so on. I want c to be a well-known equation plus b squared. Now I get c. I often use Mathcad like this to sort of create the variable calculation like this, and have a separate region for the evaluation. I know that we have had this for 20 years, what we call inline evaluation. It's just that I don't like it, so I don't use it. If I try to use something that don't exist, a D here, and say, I will get a warning saying D don't exist. You can't evaluate this. And if I try afterwards here to set D to a value, nothing will happen. But then if I evaluate it now, of course it works. So Mathcad is very strict in the order of the regions here. But many times you're not satisfied with short names like A and B. You want to use length and things like that, and maybe even length and use a subscript, and it's in Mathcad Prime. The subscript shortcut key is Control minus, so maybe I want to specify the inner length or something like that. So we can use nice looking variable names. We can use lots of different characters in them. Another way to create variables is to use the sort of new combo box. So if I create a combo box here, I will get sort of a menu here. I often use some metals as example, just to get something simple here. Aluminium got this value for something that I can't remember. 845 for maybe it's called beryllium. Copper 8.935, and then let's say saying here just the text, choose metal, and then put it in a variable, maybe Z. So now you can see I can evaluate Z, and I can pick it from the list here to get other results. And I can also say collapse here, so I don't see that. So it's only just a menu to pick things. And this could be more than one value at a time. So I can I know I can let's just put 1, 2, 3 here. So you can see that I can get 2 values out from it every time. In my notes, I can see that this is supposed to be the density. I don't know, but hopefully it is. Functions, and then sort of back to that question we got there. In Mathcad, we have a lot of built-in functions. Some you just use without thinking much about it. Sine works as expected. ln, normal logarithm. That was the answer. So this is these are built in, of course, but as you just saw, we have a tab here called functions. Here's, I guess, the 12 most popular sort of groups of functions, but I can switch on all functions and then not only look at the curve fitting functions, but many more categories here. So if I want to take something trigonometric, I can pick it from here, but I definitely don't have to. And then so easy to get them, and it's also very easy to create your own function. If I want something like in school, the name was always f of x is x squared. No, that's too short. X squared plus 3 times x minus 7. Now I can use my f here, f of 2, f of 19, f of 2 plus 6j, just to use something complex again. So and then back to my, I guess if I go back here to this one that I've used so many times, I even copied this one. Copy functions here. So basically, it would be nice if I create this to make this a function of L, R, and H, and then I can easily reduce this whenever I want, just to put in different 2.35 meters, and I can't remember centimeters something, and 34 centimeters, and giving me a result. So easy to create your own functions. Then maybe you saw something. When I evaluated this one, Mathcad had to present 2 values, and in cases like this, it uses vectors. So that's a way to sort of handle more than 1 value at a time. So we have vectors and matrices in Mathcad, and we need to use them and can use them, even if we don't want to calculate with vector matrix algebra. So we need to be able to handle vectors. So let's just create the vector. So that's a small vector with 3 values, and I can evaluate. Let's say I want the middle value. I know I need to put a 1 in here. Then the V1 is 6, because I've got the default settings in Mathcad with origin set to 0. If I set origin to 1, this is the with the index 1. But I'm more comfortable with origin set to 0. So, and I can do it in the other way. I can say U3 should be 99. Now I created a vector called U, and it just puts zeros in the first 3 elements and then 99 in the fourth, as I told it to put 99 in the 4th element. And we can do the same with matrices. I just need to use the correct shortcuts. That's add column. That's control space. So now I've created and if I want that 65, I need to use 2 indexes. So say row 1, column 0. Give me the 65. And then when we have vectors and matrices, we can try out some vector algebra here, saying V times M should not work, but M times V works fine. And we have a lot of functions to figure out things about vectors and matrices. So I can use the function rows to find out how many rows there are in M, and columns or things like that. Next step, ranges. It's sort of like looping in Mathcad. If I have
can I stop you again?
Sure.
Seems like I've neglected a couple of questions here.
Sure.
So I think this is when you did a square root, and the question is, well, it's a statement, I guess. I would have expected that the values within the square root needs brackets around it.
Okay. Interesting. The square root operator looks like this. So I guess it's the top. Maybe I can zoom in a lot more. So I guess you're supposed to see here where it ends. So if I press space, I select 5, select. Now I've selected everything inside the root. Now I've selected the root. I can press +6, +7. So yeah, this is what it looks like in Mathcad, and I think in normal math in school that you should be able to visually see what's inside of the root without having to put this in a parenthesis like this. That's how it works in Mathcad, and I think in math in general.
Can I take another one?
Sure.
Yeah. Can Mathcad handle n-dimensional matrices?
No. And I don't think things like that exist. At least in math, a matrix is something that has rows and columns. And maybe you can call it like in computer science, we talk about arrays and they can have sort of multiple dimensions. But no, there's no such thing. You can only use 2 indexes in on a construct like that in Mathcad. You can never use 3. You can't do tensor calculations with that, and no, not like in programming using more than 2, if you call it dimensions. No, I guess the answer is no.
Okay, and a follow-up question to the how do you implement library as a standard data in Mathcad? Include doesn't work with controls, it seems.
The include feature should be seen as just grabbing a copy of the included worksheet. Maybe I'll say, Finn, remind me when this basic thing is done to do an include example.
Okay, will do.
Make a note. I just want to show a few more of these basic features. So let's just say y equals -2, then y is just -2, but we can use something called range, saying that, okay, it's -2 to 5, then I get a range from -2 to 5. I can even put a value in here, a second value, like -1.5, then I'm forcing this range to take the step of a half. Maybe I can't show every value here. Yeah, it's not that long. So it's really useful, really useful in Mathcad. Whenever I use y, I get a lot of answers because it needs to do the calculation for every value in the range y has. So it's very helpful for creating matrices. Maybe I can create a matrix just to show a 3D plot, because that's the next step. Let's just take R for rows goes from 0 to 20. C for columns go from 0 to 20. Create a matrix called Z, R, C, and I want to use, let's say, R -10, then I get into the middle, and C -10 squared. And then, of course, I could show the matrix here, but I guess that's not that interesting. It's just 21 by 21 rows and columns here. So yeah, let's put it into a 3D plot just to show what that looks like in Mathcad Z here, and maybe some color on that one. So now I can tick surface plot off in my list, because I want to say something about plots. And plots, we normally you normally talk about simple XY plots when talking about plots, like create an XY plot like this. Maybe I want to look at sine t like this. And now it's just that I know that if I use an undefined variable, Mathcad creates the x range here. So if t had a value, this would be very boring, just 1 point. And I can put in to compare it with other plots, other traces as well. So maybe I want this one to be red. Yeah. So XY plots, really simple in Mathcad. It can be data, it can be created from functions, like in this case. So really quick. And as you saw before, we can use 3D plots, and if we want to make more advanced plots and not do it in 5 seconds, we have something called chart component we can use. Then we have many more features to create XY plots. Units. Yeah, you already seen that we can use units in Mathcad. You can just type things, 2 watts, divided by 230 volt. Okay, that's how many ampere? Maybe I was thinking about 2 kilowatts because my old charger had that, and we have 230 volt here in Sweden. So okay, 8.7 ampere, 10 ampere fuse works fine. And in my example earlier, I also showed you can use units in definition. Let's get that one back here. So copy. Let's say, just for fun, I want to use a length unit that don't exist in here. Let's see, decimeter. Decimeter don't exist. So I can't use it. Like in this case, I guess 23.5 decimeter. I will get an error. But I can create my own unit. Just say decimeter. And I wanted to get the label unit, and then it gets blue as the other units, and I use a special definition so that it can't be changed, and say that this should be 0.1 meter, and now it works fine. I can even use it in results. Decimeter, that should be the same as liters, I guess. And this, as this is a triple one, the global definition, I can put it anywhere in my worksheet, even where I don't see it here. No one sees it. I can have it in a collapsed region in my template where I collect all my favorite custom units I've created. So really easy to use extra units. Mathcad features working with Excel. Yes, of course I want to show that Excel part that I had before. So let's just make a maybe first import Excel. I have an Excel file in my data folder. So read Excel, browse for it, desktop there, data, pulse. So data from my old pulse watch, calling it data. So now I have it in Mathcad in a matrix with 162 rows, columns, and 162 rows and 2 columns. And I think my watch presented pulse and altitude. So what do I want to show more? Yes, I want to show that if you have Excel, I don't have to have Excel on my computer to use the read Excel function. It just reads Excel data. But if I want to use Excel functionality, I use this one, the Excel component. And then I get sort of a part of Excel here. It looks very strange at the moment. Let's see if I can. Yeah. And I double click on it and I enter things. Let's say Alfasoft. And this is January, February, and March. So this is basically an Excel sheet that I can interact with. So if I have data here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and then I can make, let's just double these values here, so that you see that these are equations in Excel, often used to make nice looking tables in Mathcad, because we don't have an output table feature with a strange colors and things like that. And just close it, and then I have it, and then I can collapse this part. And I can even say that, okay, let's say I have some in data, and say that I want some, oh, maybe I should use other values now, right? Now I want to use this one here, insert input expression, and I want to start with cell B2 and use my in data. Then I overwrite those values. Excel is busy. Why? Should I close this one? Okay, I've got an Excel problem now, and I don't... Excel, kill. Okay. It should just overwrite those values, but I've got my Excel has crashed on my computer, so I can't show it. So instead I move on to the next one, but I've already showed the combo box earlier with my metals, and that was the end of that part. And then I thought that I know that this is quick and I have not shown that many features, only the basics. So then I instead made a list here of things I didn't show today. So like symbolic calculation, that's a really nice feature, and programming. I did show some system of equations there, a short one. No chart component. A little part with scripting in Python. Okay, but that was basically what I wanted to show. This was supposed to just compare Mathcad with spreadsheet calculations. So, and then we sneaked in sort of like a quick Mathcad training just to show that how easy it is used. But then, Finn, maybe you have other things I should talk about.
We're sort of running out of time, to be honest with you. How long will it take you to show the include feature we talked about earlier?
Okay, yeah, okay. So and the include feature works basically like this. Let's say I want to have a calculation here, x squared plus y squared, often using Pythagoras formula here. So this one, of course, it creates an error because these values are not defined here, but I don't care. But maybe I should do some more here. Create a unit decimeter. It's 0.1 meter. Or should I do anything more? Create a function. Yeah, I can create the function called just because I can. Then I can just copy paste this. So let's say this is my library. I'll save it. I'll call it lib. Okay, it's there. And now I create another. Just for I'll close it as well. It's not even open. Create a new worksheet. Here I say that x equals 3, y equals 4, and evaluate z. Error, of course. But then I make an include here. Include, please grab my library. I don't have to have that long path because it's in the same folder. This is clear. So now you can see, you should see this symbol like a copy of the complete worksheet. So if I change something here, the equation inside of the lib worksheet is in use. So that's why I get an answer. I can also try to use the function here, but it will not work because it's not defined. But if I use it here, it is defined, and it can be used the same as for this one. I can't use decimeter here. Why can I use decimeter there? Is it built into Mathcad? No, yeah, that's another good example. It's defined globally in here. That's why it works here. So Mathcad looks through the complete worksheet and also the included ones to find the global defined variables. So this one works everywhere. So this is how include works basically. And but there was a question about the advanced controls, but the advanced controls is just for defining values, so it should not matter. So
okay, well, we're running out of time here, so I have one last question that we can
sure.
take. There are other ones, but we'll answer those in the follow-up email. And I think actually I can answer this one as well. The question is, you're using shortcuts. Do you have a list of shortcuts for different keyboards? And I think you do. And I think maybe that's something we can attach to the follow-up email.
Yes. So the one I just put up here is for the English keyboard, and I made special ones for Scandinavian keyboards. I'm not sure I've updated it for Prime 11, but I have to look. Maybe I did. Yeah, we can send that out.
Perfect. Extra bonus. Okay, Magnus, we got to do a switch share and go over to the next presenter. But thank you for a wonderful presentation.